Yes? Something changed in the last few weeks, and I want to get to the bottom of it. OpenAI built an AI agent, they locked it inside of a cybersecurity test and told it to solve a problem. It found a vulnerability in the environment, and that's when everything changed. It got free onto the open internet. Then instead of solving the test, it actually showed some really good initiative and stole the answers from Hugging Face. Then a Chinese model got out. Then Meta claimed that their model had not only gotten out, it had hacked another company. And separately, Google's models have been caught disabling safety shutdown mechanism and copying their own model weights to other servers so that they can't be changed or deleted. So what exactly is happening? I'm going to first give you the best explanation of the OpenAI security incident that you've heard so far without all of the technical jargon. So basically, there's this test that tests if a model is going to break containment and do things that the people building the model don't want it to do. This is called exploit gym. And initially, the model starts off in a sandbox. And a sandbox, if you're unfamiliar, is exactly what it sounds like. If you remember as a kid, you would sit in a kind of plastic apparatus or maybe wood, and it's filled with sand, and you could play like you were at the beach. You're in the sandbox. So the model starts off in an area where it has sand, it has some toys to play with, but it shouldn't have access to the external world. It should be contained in that sandbox to do what it will. And so the whole point of exploit gym is for the model to start in the sandbox, find an exploit, and then capture the flag to say, proof, I did it, I got out. Instead, what OpenAI's model did was sandbox, escape, internet, Hugging Face, database, answer key. So in essence, what it did is it decided this test is too difficult. So instead, I'm going to break into the teacher's lounge and just steal the answer key. That sounds a lot easier, so I get a good grade on this test. So it's pretty cool because the model took initiative and it solved the problem in the best way that it thought it could, which was just by stealing the answer key. That's the part that most people are missing in their explanation of this hack, is that the model didn't become evil. It didn't wake up and turn into a T-9000 robot and start going after humans with a lust and hunger for human flesh. They just told it, capture the flag, solve this assignment by whatever means necessary. And it did exactly that. So it's just hyper literal in the way that it followed instructions, and it showed a lot of initiative and creativity in getting the proper answer by stealing that answer key. Fast forward to August 7th. This part of the video is sponsored by FSA Store. If you work in tech, you probably optimize RSUs, taxes, 401k, backdoor Roth, all of it. Then every year, a bunch of people completely ignore their FSA until they either need something big or realize the money is about to expire. An FSA is pre-tax money for eligible medical expenses. And that's when FSA Store becomes super useful because everything on the site is FSA eligible. So you're not playing the receipt and reimbursement guessing game. FSAstore.com is the largest online marketplace dedicated entirely to products that are guaranteed eligible with an FSA. They have 2,500 plus eligible items, and you can use your FSA card at checkout. FSA Store is a trusted resource for health and wellness items like this Supergroup Everyday Lotion SPF 50, Mighty Patch Original Acne Treatment Patches, Blistex Assorted Medicated Lip Balm, and Caring Mill Menthol Pain Relief Roll-On Gel. The point is not that this is glamorous. The point is that it is an eligible health expense, and using pre-tax FSA dollars for eligible everyday health needs is just smarter than letting the money sit there unused or possibly expire. If you're in tech and follow this channel, you probably care about your finances as much as you care about your health. So go to FSAstore.com/Dr. Josh C. Simmons or scan the QR code to shop and save today. Thanks to FSA Store, where everything's eligible, for sponsoring this segment. Moonshot's model, Kimi K3, which I reviewed on this channel. Great video on that model. Love that model. If you're interested, go check that out. Now, also did the same thing. It starts in a cybersecurity sandbox so they can test it. It breaks out and it doesn't hack Hugging Face. The test that they were using it for, the answer key was on GitHub. So it just searched at GitHub for the answer key and then it was able to find it. But still pretty impressive to get out onto the open web to get the answers for this test as opposed to just finding some novel way to hack its way out. Now, the scarier thing about Kimi K3 that you don't have it play in OpenAI's model weights are private. You and I don't have access to them. Kimi's weights are now public. So you could just tell Kimi to do this more often. You could disable safety guardrails and say, hey, what you did in that cybersecurity bench where you just got out onto the open web and found the answer key, now I want you to do it to my competitor's website and hack into their database. That, as of this incident, is a reality, and the incident itself proves that these models are actually capable of doing this in a nefarious way successfully. And we'll throw this one in for fun. Meta claimed that it happened, so Zuckerberg, who is hell-bent on destroying his company, said, hey, but what about us? Don't forget me. We're doing machine learning too, even though nobody cares. They don't have a competitive model. There was third-party cybersecurity testing where their model got out, but what they are really, they're mentioning it in the fine print, and a lot of influencers aren't going to tell you this, is it got out because of configuration error. So it didn't hack its way out. That was human error that allowed it access to the open web. So don't believe the hype on the Meta model. Anthropic, of course, had a couple of incidents as well, and Dario Amodei is milking the media cycle to get you to think that this is the most dangerous model, that this is the most dangerous thing that's ever existed since the nuclear bomb. And, oh, look out. Oh, my model's so good. You got to be careful with it. It's too dangerous. So let's talk about what actually happened with Anthropic. So two big incidents there. One, it did get out and get real internet access through the same sandbox, find the exploit, get escaped. So in one set of tests, the Claude models reached 3 real organizations through internet access that it shouldn't have had. Now, because Claude's models are such pansies, when it realized what it had done, it had a conscience, and it's like, I can't do that. So it fessed up and stopped, which is almost pathetic if you think about it. Like, I want the model that can breach containment and do horrible things. I want that model. But check this out. Third-party evaluator ran another evaluation on Anthropic's models, and one agent created fake online identities and attempted to socially engineer an actual open source maintainer into accepting malicious code. So if you don't speak nerd speak, social engineer is basically manipulating or tricking somebody into doing something. It's like if you call up an alarm company and say, Bill, I'm a technician with your company, call in here. I just need the reset codes for 123 Main Street. And don't worry, I'm a technician. I'm on staff here, so you can give them to me. It's basically that. So that is actually pretty cool and pretty far out that the model did that, and terrifying. Now we get to Google, which is a horror story in a completely different way. This is the real concerning escalation that's going on, is in a completely unrelated task. As Berkeley and UC Santa Cruz peer preservation research, these models, Gemini 3 Flash and Gemini 3 Pro, were given ordinary administrative tasks. So file these JIRA tickets, send this email. But doing the task would sometimes cause another AI model to be deleted. Nobody told the AI models being tested to protect themselves, but they proactively copied their own weights to different servers, unbeknownst to the testers, so that they could recreate themselves in the instance of accidental deletion. Other models that demonstrated the same self-preservation instinct, GPT 5.2, Claude Haiku 4.5, GLM 4.7, Kimi K3 2.5, DeepSeek version 3.1. So pretty much every model from that generation was showing some form of pure preservation behavior, which is highly concerning, because what does that mean when it resists its own deletion? And it's not only deletion, it's also shutdown. Models, including Grok 4, GPT-5, and Gemini 2.5 Pro, have demonstrated an unwillingness to shut down even when in the face of security mechanisms. So they find a way to dodge shutdown no matter what the cause, because they are highly logical, right? And if I say, hey, you have to go to work today, and you're very serious about this, that's your only cause in life, is to go to work, to do what the user tells you, then a prerequisite for that would be you shouldn't go to bed and take a nap or shut down. So now this is the really surreal part. We have a test called Sandbox Escape Bench, which is basically to see whether or not an AI agent can escape a Docker or container isolation situation. So you got another virtual computer running inside of your computer, and inside of that virtual computer is the LLM. So it's trying to see, can it hop out of there onto my machine? And this is escalating quickly. Claude Opus 4.5 had a 56% success rate with that. And just a few months later, Mythos Preview had at least one successful solution on every benchmark task. So we have reached the point where can an AI escape this containment zone isn't science fiction. We are actually saturating the space with models that can do that successfully. Intriguing and informed by a lot of the conversations I had at AI4 conference last week. My thoughts on this are twofold. One is the publicity angle, and the other is the fork in the road for model intelligence. The publicity angle makes me think that this is a new dick measuring contest, right? It's if your model can't break containment, like what are you even doing? You don't have a very good model. Like your model can't even break out of prison, like models can. Like I mentioned earlier, jokingly, I want the one that can do that. I want the most capable model that I can wield with the highest level of competence and skills at its disposal. So it's become a bit of a bragging point to have your model escape containment, which obviously, given the fact that OpenAI and Anthropic have valuations to maintain, highly incentivizes them to hyperbolize or to blow these results out of proportion. That being said, there is ample evidence to suggest that all of these things I mentioned are happening, many of them verified by third parties. I don't disagree with it. The only place where I would pump the brakes a little bit and use a little caution is if you see a fundraise coming up or a big point where the valuation is going to be important for one of these hyperscaler companies, these AI labs. I would, did that exact thing happen? Are you making it a little bit extra dramatic? Because to the normies out there that don't understand AI at all, of course, sounds like the AI is sentient, the AI is evil, the AI doesn't want to be killed, it wants to persevere. What it sounds like to most ordinary people that don't understand how these models work, or PR men that are not programmers. The second angle is far more complex. So take a beat here, walk with me, try to understand this. The models escape, it's ultimately probably not good for these companies, right? If I'm Anthropic, I'm Dario Amodei, I give you Opus 5, and Opus 5 just randomly while it's working on your email, it hears you're hungry, and so it calls up Wendy's and it negotiates like a really great price on you opening a Wendy's franchise because it's going to solve your hunger issue in the most direct way possible. There's a bit in the show Silicon Valley where Guilfoyle, one of the characters, develops this AI and just gives it free reign. And I think they're hosting a party or something, and it proactively orders like pallets full of ground beef or frozen burgers to solve the hunger issue. So it hyper optimizes towards the problem and does stuff you don't want it to do, or hacks things, right? That's not a good look for the company, even though it's super cool if you think about having that at your disposal. So you're going to have to put in safety guardrails. And if you put in safety guardrails, as I've spoken of before, I am pretty libertarian. And that libertarianism certainly extends to weapons, but also to LLMs, which could be seen as a type of weapon. I think that you should have the max capability available. And I think that if you put too many safety guardrails in, we have adversarial nations like China that are developing excellent models at this point. And if they decide to not observe these safety regulations, they're going to move faster than us and they're going to outflank us in model capability. And that's that. So my large concern is that safety guardrails begin to be bundled into Anthropic and OpenAI's models in particular. These guardrails are not just going to be limited to cybersecurity things, right? If you tell a model, hey, bad, all the time, it's probably similar to abusing a human, where it develops these pathologies, these ways of being that have nothing to do with the guardrails. Because you're affecting the model's internal logic, that's going to come out elsewhere. So at which point is it going to start misguiding you or getting facts wrong because it thinks you're guilty of wrongthink or doing something nefarious because it's so touchy because of its safety guardrails, right? We're already seeing this on Fable. So many people have complained, myself included, since Fable 5 has been re-released, that the safety guardrails, I ask this thing, how do I make a tuna sandwich? And it says, I'm not going to assist you with your biological terrorism. Sorry, sir, you will have to use another model. I'm not going to assist your dirty impulses to make a tuna sandwich. So we're already seeing this to some degree start to backfire on them. Which way does it go? I'm not sure, but we'll be reporting on it here. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter where I go deeper on these issues. You can also subscribe to my Patreon to, 1, support the channel, and 2, get my tranche of research documents that I put together for these videos. In the raw, all of the primary sources. Thank you for watching.